This a long time, and people always ask what was crab fishing like in the beginning, and I've got a story that's a pretty good example.
For decades, Captain Wild Bill Wichrowski faced down the deadliest storms the Bering Sea could throw at him. He was a master of the waves, a legend who commanded his boat and crew through ice, wind, and chaos. But the one storm he never saw coming was the one brewing inside him. For a man who conquered every monster the ocean created, his greatest battle would be against an enemy he couldn't see, an enemy that would force him to make a choice that would change his life and deadliest catch forever. The story doesn't begin on the rolling icy decks of the FV Summer Bay. It begins somewhere much quieter, much colder, and far more terrifying. At the end of season 19 of Deadliest Catch, the show did something it rarely does. It left the treacherous waters of Alaska and followed Captain Bill into the sterile, silent hallways of an oncology ward. The low hum of medical equipment replaced the usual sounds of crashing waves and shouting deckhands. For viewers used to seeing Bill in complete control, this new setting was a shock. He was no longer the captain of a mighty vessel. He was a man waiting for news that could end everything. The camera watched as Bill, a man known for his booming voice and no-nonsense attitude, sat quietly, waiting for the results of his tests. The tension was thicker than any fog on the Bering Sea. Then the doctor delivered the verdict with words that hit harder than any rogue wave. The doctor looked at him and said plainly, "You do have prostate cancer, and it needs to be treated right away." It wasn't just cancer, the doctor explained. It was an aggressive form of the disease. The fight had to start immediately. There was no time to waste. For a man whose life was dictated by seasons and quotas, his schedule was now in the hands of doctors and treatments. The ocean had always been his biggest challenge. But now, a microscopic enemy threatened to do what the sea never could. How does a man who has never backed down from a fight react to news like that? For Captain Wild Bill, his first instinct was not fear, but defiance. As soon as he heard the diagnosis, one of the first things he thought was, "I'm not going to stop fishing. I'm going to keep going until I actually can't." He knew that many people who get a diagnosis like this just shut down and crawl into a shell, and he believed that just makes it worse. He refused to let the disease define him or end his career. The Wild Bill persona built over decades of hardship and danger was not going to be tamed by this. He decided he would fight this battle his way, on his terms. And that meant returning to the one place he felt most alive, the deck of his boat in the middle of the Bering Sea. He was not just fighting for his life. He was fighting for the identity he had spent a lifetime building. Going back to the Bering Sea while starting aggressive cancer treatment is a decision few would make. Bill admitted that when you tell doctors you want to go fishing while undergoing treatment, they look at you like you've lost your mind. The world of medicine, which called for rest and stability, was in direct conflict with the world of crab fishing, which demanded brutal physical labor and complete isolation from medical care. But Bill was determined. He knew the road ahead would be incredibly difficult. He told people openly that the next 4, 6, 8 months are not going to be pleasant. He was heading into the deadliest job on Earth while his body was at its weakest, a gamble that would test every ounce of his strength and resolve. The treatment itself was a relentless, invisible battle. Bill shared the details with his fans on social media, explaining he was undergoing a combination of radioactive seeds and hormone treatment. The radioactive seeds were implanted inside his body to target the cancer directly. The hormone therapy was designed to stop the cancer from spreading, but it came at a huge cost. Bill explained that the treatment was designed to make his testosterone levels drop to near zero. For any man, this would be a difficult process. But for a crab boat captain whose life depends on strength and energy, it was devastating. He felt the effects almost immediately. He wrote that he had no energy from the hormones. This powerful, larger-than-life figure was being drained from the inside out. He shared a heartbreaking thought with his followers, writing, I have always felt 10 to 15 years younger than my age. The job I have and being around a crew half my age feels like the clock has caught up. The very treatment that was saving his life was also stealing the vitality that had defined him for so long. But through all the pain and exhaustion, a new mission began to form in Bill's mind. He realized that his struggle could have a purpose beyond himself. He decided to let the Deadliest catch cameras follow his entire journey, from the doctor's office to the deck of the Summer Bay. He said, "I'll be honest. It's kind of weird to put the diagnosis out there to the public. I'm willing to put it out there to let people see the journey in hopes of convincing some people to get tested." This tough, private man chose to be vulnerable in front of millions of people. He turned his personal battle into a public service announcement, hoping to save other men from the same fate. He stated his new goal simply and powerfully: "If I can help save 1 or 2 people on this planet, that's a good thing." The captain who once measured success in pounds of crab now measured it in lives he could potentially save. He was using his fame not for glory but for good, transforming from a rugged sea captain into an unlikely health advocate. To understand why Bill fought so hard to stay on the water, you have to understand the man who lived it. Bill Wichrowski's journey to the captain's chair was long and hard. He grew up in Irwin, Pennsylvania, a town east of Pittsburgh. And after graduating from Norrin High School in 1975, he joined the Navy. His time in the service gave him a taste for the sea. And when he got out, the promise of big money in Alaska's king crab industry lured him to the Bering Sea. This was long before any TV cameras were there to capture the drama. For 20 years, he worked his way up the ladder, starting as a greenhorn and eventually earning the rank of captain through sheer grit and hard work. The sea was in his blood. He had spent his entire adult life on the water, building a reputation as one of the toughest and most skilled fishermen in the fleet. His boat wasn't just a workplace, it was the culmination of a lifetime of effort and sacrifice. His nickname, Wild Bill, wasn't just a catchy name for television. He earned it, starting way back in high school. Looking back, he joked that it probably should have been Stupid Bill back then. He told stories of pulling wild stunts, like climbing between 2 moving cars on a freeway and diving through ice to swim the length of a pool underwater. But as he got older, the name took on a more serious, intimidating meaning in the lawless world of the Bering Sea. His fellow captain, Jonathan Hillstrand, once told a story that showed just how wild Bill could be. Some of Bill's crew got into a massive brawl in town, hurting several people so badly they ended up in the hospital. The town was ready to ban Bill's boat, which would have been financially devastating. Bill came down with his AR-15, fired a couple of rounds out the window to get everyone's attention, and ordered everyone to put their hands on a table.